Alright, well, hi. I'm Alex.
I'm Michaela.
I'm Amy.
And this is the Netflix Club.
Oh.
What?
That's just cute.
Oh, thanks. Where we watch movies that are on streaming sites that we have. And we watch them, and we're going to talk about them. And we just watched Under the Skin. And boy, was it a movie.
It sure was. From the start, I was like, the first thing I wrote was 2001: A Space Odyssey ?
That's funny because I wrote that later in my notes.
Oh my god! Wait, was it when with the red light?
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote it again there too. So.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought about Kubrick initially because I was like, all right, is this student auteur? Like, does he pretend that he has like that amount of micro decision making ability?
Oh my god.
Spoiler alert, he doesn't.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, because it took 10 minutes for like a person to be on the screen, so like.
And I guess speaking of spoiler alerts, we are going to be spoiling the whole movie because like who cares?
The entire shebang.
Also like trigger warning rape, trigger warning.
Oh my god, yeah.
Nudity, etc. The dog dies.
.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, deliberate pacing.
Code 4.
Something that I continuously thought throughout this movie was like, yeah, this is deliberately paced.
It's so deliberate you want to leave.
Under the Skin was a film that I had just I'd seen when it was out. People were talking about it, and I have a couple of friends and professors who were like, yeah, Under the Skin, like, great movie, and that's what made me want to even watch it for this. And no offense to any of those people, but I didn't think this was very good. But
were they cis dudes? The dudes that told you that? Just wondering.
One of them was, I'm pretty sure, but the other one wasn't. The other one was a girl, who I think has good opinions most of the time.
We all miss it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
no.
This feels like.
Too.
Oh, sorry.
No, please.
The piano. This feels like. I mean, I haven't seen that movie.
which is why I'm confused.
Yeah, but this feels a lot like how you've described that to me.
So many people are saying good, positive things, and then you go into it and you're like, why would anybody say a good, positive thing about this?
Yeah. And I mean, but I guess it's kind of the reverse too, because I was reading the Wikipedia page, and I don't know if the director's intent, if we're gonna actually care about that, but
what?
He said it wasn't about gender, but I have so much shit in here. This is about being a woman. This is about rape. This is about being a survivor of kidnapping. But none of that was intended. So I put so much of my own meaning into it when none of that was actually supposed to be there.
Yeah, what's intended by the director, especially when it comes from a man making a film where the lead character is a woman, is very hard to say what what he intended to do was just to make a movie, but what he did do was different.
Yeah. And I guess I just really wanted it to be a positive message about sexuality, but and I didn't know any of the background either. I didn't know it was based on the novel written by a man, directed by a man, written by a man, all this stuff. So.
And it almost was a good thing, I think. But, anyways, I think that we should go through what actually happens in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Just to give people an idea of what we're talking about. Yeah. So it starts with this really long, drawn out sequence of.
It's like a birth sequence.
A what?
A birth sequence.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like a birth sequence. And we start hearing her practicing pronunciation and eventually speaking full words, and yeah, it was building a person pretty much, because you have a circle and a peg going into that circle, and then you see an eye. And it's there you go, they just built the eyes. And that's something that they keep talking about they're not keep talking about, but it's mentioned a couple times. It's like, oh, you have beautiful eyes. It's like they take a lot of attention to that.
Yeah, I noticed like the light coming on in her eyes was like something, and then the light went out in her eyes too eventually.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we're talking about the plot, but
no, it's okay. Like, definitely.
Like it went from like the black circle. I was like, oh, it's gonna be an eye, and then like the light turned on and it was an eye. And I was like, I wrote it. I was like, oh boy, it was an iris.
And then we go to the guy who I referred to in my notes as the motorman.
Oh my god, same.
Yeah. Where he just like picks up a dead body off the side of the road.
Which is whack. Not to interject, but to interject. Like,
I kind of loved that, like the drop off point. Like I really liked the like otherworldliness of it. Like there must have been some communication here. Like how did he know where to find her? Like who is she?
ScarJo? Or the woman he took the clothes from?
Yeah.
He must have killed her, stashed her there, because he doesn't know how to fucking go in Ross. Like, he doesn't know how to shop.
Oh my god.
Because he, like, did that explicitly so he could get the clothes.
Yeah.
And then he, like, gives them to ScarJo, and that's where the room is white. Her, like, featureless white room, as opposed to her featureless black room, which occurs later on.
That was one of kind of my favorite things that I feel like I picked up on something. Because one thing about this movie is that it doesn't really tell you anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you what the white room is. It doesn't tell you what the black room is. It doesn't tell you what's even real. The motivation is behind anything. But yeah, so they show her in this white room. She's completely naked, strips the clothes off of the dead woman, puts them on, and then she sort of walks downstairs through this like vacated apartment building that's like about to be torn down or something. And then they show the exterior shot of that building, and there's like glowing lights above it.
I didn't catch that.
I don't remember this part at all.
It's very early in the movie. I'm pretty sure I saw glowing lights up in the like hiding in the clouds. So I have the feeling that's like the spaceship, the mothership, whatever that she's like coming off of. But yeah, I don't know where I got. I mean, just because of people talking, I got in my head that this is an alien.
Yeah.
It says it in the description too that she's an extraterrestrial.
Yeah, and which is
a voluptuous woman of unknown origin. Thanks, Amazon Prime.
Yeah, another thing that's just like never explicitly mentioned, but it's like there for you to get. But yeah, after she gets her clothes and leaves the apartment building, she starts driving around in a white van, like asking men for directions, and then asking them if they have friends or family that's gonna like basically seeing if anybody's gonna miss them when they're gone. And then she kidnaps them. Or not, she doesn't kidnap them so much as she just like...
she lures them.
Yeah, she lures them.
She's like such a charged thing. You can't like say that she like seduces them and be like, oh, but it's not gender. Like, it's not about gender.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like, and that's such a dude thing to do, by the way, is to pretend that like...
It's not about gender.
Like,
it's about
you've got
invisibility.
Yeah. Like, you don't have to think about what you've done here as far as like very explicit gender politics. It's like... Okay, well, her sexuality, her wiles are her selling point.
we have a guest today.
Oh, it's a kitten. Oh my god, I hate you.
Anyways.
This is gonna sound really funny later too.
Yeah.
Alright.
Anyways, yeah, so when she lures these men back to a completely black room, which
is that a womb, by the way? Like, I feel like it's supposed to be a womb.
Oh, that's what I eventually got from it.
Which is it's such bullshit.
I did not get that at all. The womb thing.
Well, so she lures them into the completely back room, and they start to sink into it while they're following her.
Yeah, she like is in the various states of undress.
Yeah,
like walks backwards.
Like they are definitely walking towards her to give her sex, and as they're doing it, they just like fall into the floor, and then we later see that like they sort of stay there for a while because there's two men in there at once, and one of them is like more decomposed or digested than the other one, and like we get to watch one dude just like turn inside out and like super die.
Coolest visual of the movie.
The coolest visual, and then we see a conveyor belt of blood and guts.
What's under the skin?
Yeah, and then we see the lens flare, very similar to the lens flare we saw at the beginning of the movie. So I got this idea that it's sort of like they are kidnapping people in sort of like a body snatchers way, where they're like literally taking people and using them to make more like Scarlett Johansson's, like making more skin to put around suits. To put around their bodies so that they can interact with the human world.
That's hella smart.
Kudos to you for picking out any motive at all. Because...
well, I think I was trying to like this movie because I've heard so many good things about it. So I was like trying to be like, oh, this is interesting what they're doing here. And so that's what I think was or what I want to believe was happening, was that they were doing this body snatcher thing, but it's not like Invasion of the Body Snatchers where it's just like it happens, you're body snatched. You have to bring these people and you have to kill a couple of them before you can become one new person.
Right. I thought it was doing interesting things, and I wanted to believe in the premise, because it's it seems so deliberate in the beginning, and at a point in the movie you just realize it's bullshit. Yeah. You realize that. Oh yeah, everyone, let me know your bullshit breaking point. Because
I think it was, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean mine is probably I would have walked out where had I seen this in theaters. When she starts to shack up with this dude after she has this revelation of empathy.
That's what I was gonna say. Actually,
yeah, which is so wild, and just how
after she runs away into the
after she releases the man with the deformity.
Yeah.
I don't know how we want to talk about that.
I mean, that's anyway, so up to that point I was very much considering the movie as being, because I think inevitably if you're going to talk about aliens or non-human things, all you're really trying to do is talk about humans.
Yeah.
And this it supposes some kind of removal on the viewer's part where you are meant to be seeing this objectively because you're seeing it from Scarlett Johansson's alien eyes. But it really doesn't follow through on anything ultra interesting after she begins to become self-aware. So I think what it does do well is sort of point to the things that make humans very human. One of which I think is tragedy. I think it tries to make the claim that tragedy is a uniquely human feature, which is the baby on the beach.
Yeah.
Where one dude dies trying to save a dog, the dad dies trying to save the wife and the dog, and then the baby's just left. It's cold.
Yeah.
And you don't have
the baby's,
any.
Yeah, gone. Nobody's gonna. The baby dies supposedly.
And that's non-tragic in the movie,
right?
Which leaves you to discern how absolutely tragic it is,
right?
And then you're oh, yeah, that's human.
Because the motorman goes and collects the things from the tent, and then goes and picks up some things on the beach, and that baby is still there hours later. The scene where those people drown happens during the day, and at night that baby is still there crying, and the motorman just leaves the kid there.
Yeah. Because it's not a part of his narrative. That's only tragic because humans have this larger story about what we owe each other, and that's not present at all for the aliens. So that's dope. That's a cool thing going on.
Yeah.
It was very very powerful. I wrote something about that, but I mean I was going for the feminist movie lens, so I was oh, this is by removing the maternal instinct, we really see how important the maternal instinct is. She didn't save the baby, she didn't care about the baby at all, but she was supposed to, and we were anticipating that, and that's why this is so, like, powerful, is because, like, it wasn't there. We can, like, see the lack, I guess, which is hard.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Something that I thought was pretty interesting was the, sort of the build-up to her realizing some sort of, like, sense of humanity, or I wanted it to be more interesting, you know, where she's not driving for, like, the first time. She's not driving around town, she's walking downtown. And there's crowds of people, and she trips, and she just lays there. And all of a sudden, somebody wants to help her up. Which is, like, who has ever wanted to, like, help her before? She's only ever, like, used other people for her own ends. Or she's only ever used the dudes that she's picked up, really. And now somebody who doesn't even know her is, like, helping her out. And then she picks up the man with a deformed face and, like, looks at her own reflection and sees... What I pick out from it is that she sees that she looks like all of these other people. She looks like a human who try and do nice things for other people. And so she lets that man go. And that's when she runs away and tries to have human experiences. Like, she tries to eat the cake, which doesn't go well for her. Oh, but I forgot something. After she trips, before she picks up the man with the deformed face, we just see, like, clips and clips and clips of people just doing very normal people things. Like a dude working in the shop, a group of women chatting, walking down the street, someone's just sitting there, and they all just start to, like, layer on top of each other and layer and layer and layer and layer, and it fades into her.
Yeah, color and sound were, like, really important in the movie.
Yeah.
And so at that point it was yellow. There was, like, a lot of motion. Oh, I wrote, wow, they're people. And, like, the yellow and, like, the movement on the screen was, like, kind of like seeing life, and the music in the background, which had been, like, very discordant, so it kind of, like, reached a harmony, but still had, like, her theme underneath it still, you know? Like, so that was definitely the point, that was, like, what you were supposed to get from it, I think. Like,
wait, what's the it there? What are you supposed to get from it?
Oh, from that, like, scene.
I think that that the it is that she's, like, watching people and sort of, like, learning sort of, like, a sympathy or an empathy for them. Not just viewing them as, like, this thing that a resource that she needs to get, and seeing them more as things with daily lives who, like, think and feel.
Wow. I was, like, not on that
really?
hype. No. It's just, like, it's just a difference, I guess, of foundational perspective, I guess, because I was like, oh, she's the exception. Like,
interesting.
I thought
that's what I got by the end of it. But at this point, I was still in the, like, where's the like, good part of this movie? Because at that point, she had taken home 3 dudes, and it was like, how many times can you just take home a dude, and we're gonna watch him sink into the black goo that is your floor?
I mean, progressively each time, like, you saw, and I was, like, very interested in this, the difference between, like, actual architecture and, like, the formlessness of her lair or whatever. As, like, each dude walks in, like, there's more and more of the house culminating which is just the structure itself is totally irrelevant, and the room that is housed within it is, like, metaphorical or just some batshit alien architecture. And so, like, there's some, like, development there, and so you see them, like, wanting to have a sense of continuity that I think, like, really drops off, like, halfway through the film.
That's real.
Definitely. But I think that what made me feel sort of, like, repetitive before that was just, like, going and picking up the dudes. Because there was only really one time where that... I mean, I guess we were given something different each time, but it's just like, okay, just gonna get this dude. Here he comes.
Gotta get him. Gotta get him.
Yeah, I think when it reached that point in the like point where she was like, oh, maybe I'm human too, I was like, this is such a boring sentiment. Like, I've heard this so many times. Like, oh wow, like all aliens kind of want to be human, which is just like us like fucking loving ourselves.
Wow,
like,
speak on that.
But that's kind of why I like really loved when she spit out the cake. Like, she goes to a restaurant, orders this cake, it looks delicious, and she puts it in her mouth and just like goes like makes this gross noise. Everybody looks at her like, what the fuck? Because I feel like it was sort of a flipping of that notion where it's like, oh, humanity is beautiful and she's gonna eat this cake and it's gonna open her eyes further, but like it doesn't. Like she starts to see something
human.
about...
It's just saying like, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to be that. But I mean, I just like was bored by the concept because it's been done so many times. Like, I know for sure that I've seen it before. So, you know, like
E.T. just wants friends.
What?
E.T. just wants
E.T.
friends.
Right? Exactly. Oh my god. Yeah.
You're right. Like, it's just like the unavoidable self-interest of like a human subject. It's like humans talking about humans by using things that aren't human, and you're like, can't you get outside that?
Yeah.
And the answer is no.
It's literally like, it's just Dancing with Wolves, but like it's Avatar but the opposite. Like, that's what this movie is.
Oh, you mean the blue people. I kept thinking Airbender.
Yeah, sorry. The blue people. Yeah.
So yeah, she goes off, tries to experience humanness, meets some dude
who really wants to help her.
Yeah, surprisingly nice guy.
Kinda, except for how he's like, clearly you're not okay, but I still want to have sex with you.
Right?
That was
oh my god, I was
stretch.
so mad. Where was I?
Honestly, boring fucking culmination. Like, I'm so tired of,
I wrote, you fuck, I hate this. Yeah.
So tired of, like, sex being the pinnacle of a movie or of an experience. Because that's where she's like, oh, the vagina. And, like, while having sex with this dude, and that somehow solidifies, like, her having a body, and yet it's not about gender. Like, don't get confused, feminists.
Yeah.
It's a human experience.
Yeah, she doesn't have a working vagina, and then she, like, runs away.
Oh, is that what went on there?
That's what I understood to happen.
Interesting.
Was that, like, she inspects it and finds out that it's, like, it's just a facade. Like, her human body's not, like, functional.
Yeah. That, oh my god, you're probably absolutely totally right about
trans metaphor.
But yeah, that happened, and so she runs away into the fucking forest.
Oh my god, yeah.
Where she's like yet again
movie, honestly.
pursued by a dude, and I don't know what she's trying to do at that point. I mean,
she's like, I imagine that she has strayed away from her orders, because then we see a scene where, like, there's more motormen than just the one who break away and try and, like, are trying to find her. So she probably knows that she's being hunted by them, and so she hides in the woods.
All right.
Yeah.
I know there was, like, some sort of tension trying to be built there by continuing, like, every few minutes we would cut back to, like, a motorman driving around or, like, stopping somewhere and looking at some place that she might have been. But, like, it doesn't go anywhere. They never meet her.
Trying is a really good word just to describe the movie.
Yeah. It's trying to make me feel tense. And
I mean, noises were kind of solid, like, for the most part. Like, it's supposed to be really disorienting. Congratulations.
Yeah, the first time that someone is, like, drawn into her void room, as more clothes are taken off, the music gets more discordant. Before he finally just, like, slips under the water and is stuck there.
But what even is it?
It's like,
not that it matters.
Stuff.
I guess just, like, when in considering a movie or like any generative piece of anything, you or I rather like consider what it is I think they're trying to do, what the director's trying to do, and how do they attempt to achieve that, by what means. And like this one just like falls apart. It like you can see where it's, oh man, it's just trying.
Yeah. Alright, I'm just gonna cut to the end real quick.
Oh yeah.
She meets a dude in the forest. He tries to rape her, chases her down, grabs her, starts tearing off her clothes, and then like actually tears off her skin. And like we see this like gaunt black body underneath that reminded me.
Still got titties though.
Still got titties. That reminded me of Hannibal.
I know, I wrote that. I just had one bullet point that says Hannibal. Oh.
Yeah, and she like looks at her human face.
And her human face is looking at her and crying.
Yeah.
Just like in the beginning of the movie. Remember the dead girl cried, like shed one tear.
Oh, she did.
Oh.
You're totally right.
Which is why I wrote. Well, we can get to this in a second, but I think that this is like a secular story. Cyclical,
yeah.
Circular, cyclical. Anyway, I think that this is a cyclical story, and that she's not actually an alien. I think that she is like. I just made it into like a story about trauma, but you know, because like the girl at the beginning, like she was naked at the beginning, just like all the men were when they either like died or like she released the last one.
Yeah, when they like sunk into her pit.
Right.
Oh yeah, just to like note really quick, like the treatment of like Scarlett Johansson's character, the alien woman, interacting with like women versus men, and like the way in which she avoids women at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's when she becomes confused and disoriented, is when she's like swept up in a pack of women.
Oh yeah.
Who are going into the club, and I feel like I gotta call that one exactly how it is, which is like the classic cis white dude being like, what are women? We
like
just don't
girls,
know. Some endless feminine mystique, quote unquote, that is like totally unknowable. And it's like, oh, women are dangerous and men are simple.
Men are easy. All you need to do is tell them titty and they'll fall into your tar pit.
Does the alien have titties?
The only like woman character, there aren't any like women in the movie, because the woman character is an alien.
Yeah.
So the main character is like not human.
Yeah, but it's...
And although they're,
still inescapably engaging with the gender.
No, I know, but I'm
like,
but even like he took it away. No, oh right, sorry.
Yeah, so the whole movie, because it was so like drawn out, I was waiting for like, what's the big thing? There's got like, I was rapidly losing interest. There had to be something that I was gonna be like, oh, that's what all this is for. And when they like take off her skin, I was like, here's the thing that I've been waiting for. And then they take that thing and they light it on fire. And it dies. Like, they literally, that same dude comes back with a can of gas and douses her with it and then lights her on fire and she just burns.
Also, like, why does the logger guy have like a thing? I mean, I guess I understand.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
Your job is to cut down trees, like, anyway.
Yeah, it was just like a way to end the movie. It felt like it didn't feel very meaningful.
Same thought.
It was like, oh, how do we oh, now she looks at herself. What are we gonna do now? Just kill her.
Look, she's betrayed by humanity. No. She's betrayed by a man.
Screenwriting.
Which I could like very easily see like men's rights activists being like, oh, her comeuppance for murdering all those men. Anyway, totally an aside, but I thought about the feather and the fedora cap.
I thought about It Follows, a great film, during this movie, because I was thinking about how that one sort of flips a script with huge air quotes because of the whole like needing to have sex to survive a horror movie. Because in other horror movies, including this one, like sex is what gets you killed. And then it follows like sex is what keeps you alive. And in this, I was thinking like something that Amy pointed out kind of early in the film, where it's like there's a woman who is stalking men and like being a sexual predator towards men, which like never happens. And I was seeing that as some sort of like subversive, I don't know, like some sort of taking up a gender role that we don't normally see, but it didn't do anything with it, and it sort of just like maintained this nothing message. Like, it didn't do anything
there
with
was
that.
No, like, we didn't get an explanation for why she was doing it, so it wasn't interesting. We didn't get, like, did she need it to stay alive? Like, but then she stopped, so, like,
I think she was doing it for the motorcycle guys. So I think she was, like, created to hunt for them.
Right.
But
then why? Because he delivers her, like, the body at the beginning. Yeah, that's totally, the, like, dead body. He, like, gives that to her and is like, here, dress yourself. And then, like, but she reports to him, and there was, like, a scene where it was, like, very clear that he was dominant to her. With the, like, the black brick floor.
Yeah.
And he was, like, checking her eyes.
Yeah.
Which I think must be how she was, like, pursued in the first place. It was because he had, like, some kind of, like, he was able to, like, see, which this is based on a scene wherein when she, like, realizes her empathy, she's looking in a mirror.
Right.
She's like, oh, self-awareness. This absolutely human trait. I've got it. Sucks. And later on, after she takes off, motorcycle dude, like, is on the landing of the stairs, looks at the mirror she looked in, and, like, knows she's gone. And so I feel like he must have, like, access to what her sight is, like, actually seeing, which is, like, how she's tracked. So I just,
very
like,
interesting.
which, like, just adds to the gender politics aspect of it. Like, he creates this woman to lure men, but I think that it sustains him directly and not necessarily her.
She's completely, like, her motives are, not within her.
And they're pure up until she, like, her, like, motive, her protocol, her efficiency.
Yeah, she's
like,
a tool. And there's, in the Wikipedia page, it's interesting, we should have all read the Wikipedia page before talking, because, like, everybody, or maybe it's just mostly Alex.
I don't know.
Well, we just all said, like, a lot of things that are already in it. I forget, what did you just say? Something about,
utility?
Yeah, her being, she has an identity crisis that causes her to spin out of control like a broken machine. So, like, and that happens at the mirror scene, I guess. That's right after
she
hooks up with the
man who's deformed, so to speak.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting, because, like, that's in violation of the social contract that she's banking on up until that point, because she, like, knows how this goes. Like, she presents herself to a man who's unattached. They want to have sex with her. She counts on that and sucks their insides out or whatever, up until she meets that guy who isn't versed in the same kind of social niceties and interactions that all of the able-bodied people are up until that point, which I think is what inspires her crisis of empathy in the first place, is the fact that this dude doesn't have that drive, the mindless drive for sex that everyone else has.
Yeah, he's the only one that she has to, like, try to get him. Because even when he's, like, in the void room, he looks away. He's the only person who, like, looks
around,
back.
Yeah, and she's stepping toward him, not away the whole time.
And it's also the only, or not the only time, but it's the first time that she actually takes off all of her clothes in that room. Because previously she only gets down to like bra and underpants, like before the man sinks in. With this one, like all her clothes come off before that guy sinks.
I'm glad I wrote this down. That after she looks in the mirror, like while she's looking in the mirror, we hear it says like insect buzzing, and then it cuts to like a fly buzzing against the window. And there's like a lot of like, I was noticing a lot of imagery throughout the movie where like it was like talking or like thinking about like large versus small, and like there's like she picks up the ant off of the
dead woman at the beginning.
And it's like the small black body on like her like white skin, and then like when she's in the white room she's like dressed all in black, the small white motorcycle against the white van, and then the small white fly trapped against the white, or the small black fly, I'm sorry, trapped against the white like bright window. And like I said, I wrote releases him from her web, pity for the fly, because like the men are the flies, but then like she's the spider or whatever, and she's like, oh, okay, you can go.
And then that also leads to her running away into like this really dense fog. Then the fog is like perfectly white, also, and she sort of stands.
I think she's trying to put herself through the same thing she's been putting the guys through.
Yeah.
As far as like being engulfed.
The drowned man, they couldn't find the drowned guy. I thought that he was the one singing because they couldn't find him because of the dense fog.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and
so I imagine that it was him.
There was some singing in the fog, too. Yeah, I guess this movie does do interesting things, but it's like grand scheme of it is very kind of boring and leaving me with not a lot to care about.
If we're gonna use the forest for the trees metaphor, the forest is shit, but each of the trees is like
pretty tight.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a cool.
That's a dank tree, but it's surrounded with like shady trees.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's bad at maintaining its own perspective. It gives you very little to go on. Visually, it's really pretty.
Yeah.
Like it's very striking.
It's one of the only films where like somebody's driving at night and the lights are sort of like the shadows are passing over their faces
realistically.
And I was like, I didn't actually think it was realistic, but I thought it was really pretty. I never thought it was like very pretty when the lights like when somebody's driving in the darkness and then something shades them for a second. But this film did it nicely.
Yeah. Fun to look at, some interesting concepts. It just like couldn't get far out of the gates for me. It's like
I think it was
just died on the track.
It was holding its cards so close that it never put any of them on the table.
I love it. Let's just mix our metaphors.
It went all in and then didn't even put its cards down. All in and folded.
Oh, it's super ambitious, and like you see something like that, and I think the reason I thought Kubrick was like, you assume or you want this person to like have thought through everything and like have something to tell you, but it didn't feel, and like that's fine. I think a movie can just be an experience, but if this movie were solely an experience, I would have opted out in like the first half an hour. And so when you have that taken from you, just experiencing it, then you try to engage intellectually, and that's where there's a lack of follow-through, I think.
Because it doesn't go very far. It's like the skin thing that you said, where like they were harvesting the skins and like connecting that with like the underwater thing. That was like the aha moment for me. But the movie could have ended there, and they just could have like told it a little bit better, told the story a little bit better, because that's all it was. There's nothing more to it than that to figure that out. There's nothing else to figure out. It's like, why do I care?
If what they're doing is like harvesting the skin or whatever, it's like that's the interesting thing. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for some explanation as to what they're doing, and I never get it, even a little bit. Like there is something to be said about a movie that lets you try and figure out what it's doing. Like, it's a lot of show, not a lot of tell, which is good, but I still need something.
Yeah, it felt like it was speaking a different language, and nobody gave me, like, the dictionary to, like, translate it, kind of. Like, we could use metaphors all night, but...
Yeah. Do you want to throw a rating on this one?
Oh, Jesus.
Did you say, like, negative?
Well, at a certain point in the film, I determined that it dropped from a 3 to a -3. But walking out of it, I would say it gives you enough to chew on that if you like thinking, and not relaxing in your viewing experience.
It is very tense.
It's remarkably tense for not a lot happening or being explained, which is fine. Like, I don't want or need, like, something to be spelled out for me, but it didn't maintain a literacy with its viewers. There's no rapport, and so I would probably give it. Geez, I really want to stick with the 3. 3.5 on a good day.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're...
We're going out of 10, right?
I assumed.
Just a 3.
It depends on what you're looking for, but if you're looking for a story, I would say don't watch this movie. If you're looking for some art, go for it. But,
I would say don't get stoned until after the opening scene, just because it's a little tense.
I'd say don't watch this movie stoned at all. But
I see, the only reason I suggest that is it's already, like, sober, stone cold. It's not making any sense.
That's real.
So stoned, you can just piece it together in whatever order.
Oh damn, that's real.
Anyway, not that this is like what should you token watch.
But I'm sure there's bound to be a lot of stuff that you should, or not should, but would be a better viewing experience.
Potentially.
Amy, do you want to put a number on it?
I've got to factor in that last scene. I give it like a 1 out of 10. Sorry.
No,
yeah.
Very fair.
No, yeah, definitely.
Just be aware, sexual assault, trigger warning.
Yeah, it's like all disgusting and bad.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Alex,
early in the film, when I was just like, what's gonna happen, when I was still like holding out hope, I was like, I'll give this a 6. Like, I'm just like interested enough that it's gonna be a 6. But like, definitely as the movie went on, and it just kept giving me less and less and less. Like, I don't know how they started taking away things from me.
Oh my god!
But it felt like
it ended up in the negatives.
Did y'all ever read the Phantom Toll Booth?
Yeah.
The minus soup, where like it just made you more hungry.
Oh.
Oh my god!
You remember?
Phantom Toll Booth scared the fuck out of me.
Me too.
But
oh my god.
I would rather read that book 3 times than watch this movie.
Well,
but I think I am gonna land sort of at like a 4 because it's doing enough good, but like a majority of it is just like leaves me so bored. Yeah. Like the 4 comes from I have a lot of things to think about while watching it. Like, oh, what's this? What's that? Like, what's the meaning beyond just
a film? Though, or like,
I mean, in a way,
okay.
it is. I find being able to like think about it enjoyable, but it doesn't do a lot else, and it just ends really shitty.
Yeah.
Like,
super inconclusive.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, humans bad, and like I agree with that.
But like, again, that's been said. Like, what's the message, buddy? Like,
yeah.
What's your what?
Too bad dude said it wasn't about gender, because that's like
right. It
the
could have been
unique
something.
Point of it.
You could have ended it with something there, like, I don't know, just murder the fucking rapist. Like, that's the end of the movie.
Yeah. Wouldn't that have been cool? Honestly, if anyone had to die, like, that would have been much more satisfying if there had been a little bit of comeuppance there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, why did she have to die even? Like, what's the point in her dying? Like, anyway.
Live to die, die to live.
Disappointing out of 10.
Yeah, tree floating in the endless void. On a scale where there is no math or time.
Damn, yeah, numbers, like, barely a concept.
Yep. Alright, then.
Well, I'll say we'll be right back. Alright, we are back. So yeah, Under the Skin was a pretty bad movie, but I promise you that we also like good movies. And we'll hopefully watch some more movies that are actually like really good and we all enjoy. Imagine.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, whoa, hey, what?
Could you tell me maybe what you like about film? Why you're doing this? Maybe a little bit of what your background in film is.
Oh, well, my background in film. Yeah, I mean, we're all recent graduates. I specifically studied film at UC Santa Cruz. Great place.
Uncle Charlie's summer
Uncle
camp.
Charlie's summer camp. Yeah, I really like watching movies. I've recently found a big affinity for like horror movies and stuff, and a lot of the time I really only want to watch those because so much happens in them. And I like to watch stuff happen because one of the big reasons I didn't like Under the Skin is that not a lot happens. But some of my favorite movies include Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is like a remnant from my youth, because it just, there's so much about it that it's just like really witty, and the visuals are really cool, and the graphic novel behind it is really good too. And I also like, I like a lot of movies.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Great fucking movies. Big Bad Wolves is a really good movie. Just like, so much happens in that, and that's paced kind of like Under the Skin. Where it's like, it's a more slowly paced movie, but like, so much happens in Big Bad Wolves, which is something that I hope to watch with y'all in the future. Yeah. Yeah, I just like, something that I've been thinking about a lot recently when watching movies is that I like to be a part of it. And like, so a movie like Scott Pilgrim specifically like caters to a big demographic that I fall into, and so it's that there's a sort of sense of community, or at least somebody who understands when I watch a movie like that. Or in a film like Big Bad Wolves, which like doesn't really fit a demographic of people that I fit into, makes me feel like a part of the world that it gives. It like does such a good job at giving me characters and a world that I'm like, yeah, of course, this is happening, and I'm here like watching it happen. Yeah, those are just a few things that I like about movies. And I don't know, I really love talking about movies. We have specifically had long conversations about plenty of films that we watched. Like we need to talk about Kevin was one in particular.
Oh man.
Where that was another movie we had a lot of mixed feelings about.
Deliberately paced.
We had a lot of mixed feelings about that movie, but like coming out of it and just like, we talked about the movie for an hour and a half, 2 hours or something. And that was great. We had a great conversation really about that movie. And that's just something that I love to do. So that's why I want to share this with everybody. Be a part of our conversation.
Yeah. Always down to converse.
Hey, Michaela.
Hi, Alex.
What kind of movies do you like?
Well, I thank you for asking. Well, shit. We mentioned It Follows, big fan of that. I'm a big fan of movies where you can see thought happening. Imagine. conversely, I also really like horror movies. Not always a place where thought happens. So I guess what I enjoy about film and what constantly draws me back to it is I'm interested in choices and decision making, and like that's what a film is concentrated decision making, and rendering and deliberation. And I want to know, can you complete your vision? What is your vision? Like, and so when a filmmaker puts something together, like that's 2 hours or an hour and a half, or God forbid 3 or 4. Looking at you, what is him? Peter Jackson. The extended cut.
Peter Jackson, Paul Thomas Anderson. What's that other guy?
PTA.
Charlie Kaufman.
Terrence Malick.
And so, whatever amount of time this is going to span, like I'm interested in what you can fit into that, how you can curate an experience for a viewer, and choice is just a huge active part of that, because you either veil your thinking or you don't, but whatever you're doing is going to be scrutinized and thus has to be considered really carefully in its arrangement, and in its inception, and when you don't, when the director doesn't, you can see that. You can see where they fail to have a cohesive understanding or vision for what's going on. My background is not in film. I graduated recently with a bachelor's of arts in literature / creative writing. And so I'm always just interested in like how people are communicating and what it is they feel is urgent to communicate, and how they achieve that. And film is just one of the more visible, or one of the mediums where your choices are written large across the screen and absolutely like up for interpretation, whereas like other mediums aren't necessarily like that interactive or friendly or accessible. So like a painting, I can talk about a painting, but I'm mostly there to feel it. It's not the same with film. They're doing shit. There's tactics is what the fuck I'm saying. Yeah, so
Totally.
that's what I'm done with. Hey Amy.
Hey Michaela. Just pass the hot potato.
Yeah. Hey, what the fuck are you into?
What are you about?
Tell me your story.
What'd you major in?
Oh my god. I majored in molecular, cellular, and developmental biology.
Which relates 100% to filmmaking.
Also.
Yeah. I am interested in stories, I guess. And I'm interested in like having a good time. So I like things that make me feel good. So like when we were talking about like ratings for Under the Skin, and I gave it a 1 out of 10, you gave it a 4 out of 10, and you said like that was because it made you think a lot. It like made me think a lot too, but like I didn't have a good time when I was thinking, you know? So like that's how I would like describe my taste, you know? Like that's what I'm looking for in a movie. And I have a hard time coming up with a list, as I've talked about before in the past. But Short Term 12 is a movie that comes to mind here just because it's like it feels like a really honest movie and a very it doesn't do a whole lot of wrong, in my opinion, which is really hard to find. And I also like fun movies like Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement. I also watch a lot of whatever everybody else is watching, so I'm there to like have fun and think a lot, but like have a good time while I'm thinking, you know.
Not just one or the other. Give me both.
Both. And that's me.
Tight. Have you guys given any thought to a movie that you would want to watch next week?
I did. I came up with one earlier. Not just The Iron Giant, although I did suggest The Iron Giant. Let it be noted. We should watch American Mary because I've seen it, but you two haven't, and it's gender. It's got my girl Catherine Isabel in it.
Yeah.
And it's a horror movie, so that hits all my kinks. Kinky. Tune in.
Nice.
Drop in. Drop off. Shout out.
I want to watch Tallulah.
With Ellen Page.
Yeah. A great excuse.
That's a Netflix original, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so those are both available on Netflix, right?
Yes.
Cool. So, yeah, we watched Under the Skin this week, which was available on Amazon Prime. I guess just in case I didn't do a good job of explaining it at the beginning, what we want to do here at the Netflix Club is watch and review movies that are available on any streaming platform that we can get our hands on. Legally, of course. So, like, no Putlocker.
I don't even... Those dirty words.
No torrenting. And no, like, DVDs. Right now we have Netflix, HBO Go, and Amazon Prime.
Hulu, right?
Tentative Hulu.
Oh.
So maybe we'll get more in the future. Maybe it'll always be these. Maybe
we'll go broke and have none.
Yeah. But yeah, for now, next week we're gonna watch American Mary and Tallulah. And it's gonna be great.
See you there.
Yeah. Sick. See you later.
Bye.